we are going to take a look at animals that live in the desert and temperate climates, which is perfect timing because yesterday y'all were so excited to tell me about all the animals. So today we're going to take some time to look at that animal life. What we are going to do is not just say, oh, this lives there and that lives there and that lives there, because that's kindergarten level work, okay? Kindergartners know that penguins live in Arctic climates, so that's not what we're doing. What we're going to do is focus on why those animals live there. What is it about their body, about their adaptations that helps them survive inside of those climate regions, okay? Why would a penguin die in a desert, but a penguin would live in the Arctic? We're going to look at those adaptations and explain how the climate helps animals survive, okay? So here is an overview of some information that you're going to see today and what is expected of you.
Today's learning target is 3.3.9. Describe how climate and the physical characteristics of a region affect the vegetation and animal life living there. Today we're going to focus on 2 of the 4 regions we've been talking about. We're going to focus on desert life and temperate life.
Okay, so we're looking at desert animals and animals that live in temperate climates. Remember, you're in Indiana. Indiana is a temperate climate. Okay, some of these animals should look familiar to you. These birds, raccoons, deer. We don't have bear in Indiana, but we do have bear in other temperate regions. So we're going to look at how the climate and physical characteristics affect those animals' lives. Okay, so we're going to take a look at today. I'd like for you, if you would please, to go refresh your feed on Seesaw. Click on that activities light bulb to refresh it. And we are going to add a response. We've looked at our instructional slide. Now we are going to read and discuss a text about plant and animal life in the desert. Okay. Then we will watch a Brain Pop Junior Deserts video, and we will stop, discuss, and answer questions. So click on that add response. Everything that you need, the text, the video, all of it is right here for you. It says with your teacher on slide 2, read and discuss the text. Don't forget to study the text features for additional information. Let's go ahead and go to slide 2. I'd like, if you would please, to have your highlighter ready. Go ahead and change it to your favorite color on the highlighter. And we're going to highlight information about how the climate affects the animals. Okay, so remember, our climate is the temperature, the precipitation, and the vegetation. Okay, so we're looking at the temperature, we're looking at the amount of waterfall and how that affects animals, and we're looking at the plant life and how that affects animals. Okay? Questions before we begin, only if they're related to our task. Aiden Hampton?
Okay, so are all of our answers to this assignment supposed to be out the text?
Yes, but we haven't started any answers yet, so we will get there. Okay, Terrence.
So do we have to change it to our favorite color?
You don't have to. It just makes it more interesting for me. All right, here we go. Desert life. Have your highlighter ready. Desert plants and animals can live with little water and extreme heat. Hey, little water is the precipitation. Extreme heat is the temperature. Let's go ahead and highlight that. Desert plants and animals can live with little water, so they don't need a lot of rain, and extreme heat. Okay, so that's how the temperature can affect them. The cactus stores water in its stem. Other plants and flowers only bloom when it rains. Desert foxes get the liquid they need from eating other animals. Wow, let's highlight that. A desert fox is the type of fox that I had as a pet. I think I shared with you guys that my fox died earlier, this year. Yep, earlier this year. But that was true of my fox as well. When I had my fox at home, I didn't have to give him a water bowl. He had one in case he wanted it, but he never, ever, ever drank from the water bowl because he would get the liquid that he needed from the proteins that I would give him. So the oil and the blood that was in other animals, that's how he got enough water to survive. Crazy, huh? Aiden G's gagging on that. All right. To keep cool during the day, many desert animals stay underground or under rocks. They only hunt in the cooler night. So they have to hunt when the temperature is cooler or is less hot. So I am thinking that a desert animal probably would not survive inside of a temperate climate, because in a temperate climate, we don't always have extreme heat, and it's not necessarily cooler during the night, but also during the day. So all the animals that are sleeping at nighttime that they would be hunting wouldn't be available to them because they wouldn't be trying to survive in that desert climate. Let's take a look down here at this fact box. It says camels do well in deserts. Camels have 2 rows of eyelashes. They also have nostrils that close. Both keep out sand. Ooh, that's about our land quality, right? So camels have 2 rows of eyelashes that keep out the sand from their eyes, and they have nostrils that can close to keep the sand out of their nose. We do not have nostrils that close. We would have to pinch them closed if we wanted them to close. So we would have to walk in the desert like this. That would not be very comfortable. Okay, but camels can just go boop and close their nostrils automatically to keep the sand out. That's pretty cool. Fat stored in their humps lets them go days without food and water. So that's important because I know that camels eat plants. And if there are not a lot of plants, they might have to travel a few days before they can find it. We also know there's not a lot of water in the desert, so camels might have to travel a few days before they could find it or before it rained. So let's add that. Fat stored in their humps lets them go days without food and water. Okay, so they can survive very well in the desert because they don't have to have food all around them like they would in a temperate climate. They can travel for some time without it. Any questions so far on how we're finding information about ways that animals survive in their climate? Okay, let's keep going. We have one little paragraph left. People have ways to survive living in hot deserts. The Bedouin tribe of the Middle East lives in tents. The cloth walls allow air to flow. Tents are lined with animal hair. This keeps heat or cold in or out when needed. Okay, so this isn't about animals. So we're not going to highlight information there because we know that our learning target is about how animals survive. Okay, and we do not need to focus on people's tents when we're talking about animals. Okay, we have a caption here that says, cacti grow in deserts of the southwestern United States. Not really information there about how animals survive either. Okay. So this is how we're going to read a text and look for ways that animals survive inside of the desert. Okay. Slide 2, done. Let's go on to slide 3. Slide 3 says, read the questions below. What is a desert like? How do plants survive in the desert? How do animals survive in the desert? Okay. Click the link and listen for these questions and answers as you watch the video. Pause the video to type the answers when you hear them. Click play to resume the video and listen for the answer to the next question. Repeat until all questions have been answered. So you guys know on Brain Pop, a question's going to pop up, and then Annie and Moby are going to talk about it. After we have the answer, we're going to pause. We're going to come type our answer. Then we're going to go back to the video and look for the next answer. Okay? Questions before we begin. Levin.
Mom, everybody knows what is a desert is like.
I agree, sir. Hopefully by now we have that information down. This is a good review for us to get it fresh in our mind. But yes, I agree. Y'all better know what a desert is by now. Terrence, question.
It's not about that, so I'm gonna wait.
Thank you. I
A
appreciate that.
long time.
All right, so we're going to take a look at desert habitats. And again, we will pause when we see the answer to the question, what is a desert like? Okay, here we go.
Habitats. Deserts. Those are really long needles. No, not those kind of needles. The cactus needles are sharp points that protect the plant. Yes, a cactus is a plant. It grows in a desert habitat. What is a desert like?
Here we go.
It's so sunny here. The climate is really hot. And look at the soil. It's dry and cracked. You're right, Moby. The plants and animals that live here must have ways to meet their needs. How do plants survive in the desert?
All right, so we just heard the answer to our first question. Let's go ahead and hop onto that seesaw assignment. What is a desert like? Get your typing tool ready. I'm going to make this text box nice and long so that it fits all my information. What is a desert like? A desert is and our video told us it is very hot and sunny. The soil is dry. So it is very hot, it is very sunny, it is very dry. That is a brief answer to what is a desert like. We know a lot more details, but just as a quick review, that is helpful to us. A desert is very hot and sunny. The soil is dry. Desert is very hot and sunny. The soil is dry. Go ahead and copy that onto your notes. And they just asked the next question. How do plants survive in the desert? We're going to listen for that answer. We're going to type that answer. Okay? How do plants survive in the desert? Take a look at your screens here. Awesome, we have it typed. Okay, here we go. How do plants survive in the desert?
Be careful. These leaves are actually long, thin spikes. This is not a good tree to climb. I bet these spikes help the tree to survive. Well, plants use their leaves to get sunlight, and leaves can grow pretty big. But the desert is really sunny. So this tree has long, thin leaves so it doesn't get too much sun.
Notice that difference? So we might see plants that have big old fat leaves inside of our climate in Indiana, but in the desert, the leaves are going to be very thin because it makes sense, right? If I go hold this up to the sun, that's going to get a lot of sun. If I do this, now it's only got my pinky. Okay, so they get less sun by being smaller. So plants' leaves are smaller. Let's see what else we learn.
Much sun. I guess desert plants have special ways to survive in their habitat. Moby. This tree has shallow roots that can soak up the littlest bit of rain that falls. And then it has really deep roots that can store extra water when there isn't any rain. You're right, Moby. That cactus does have a thick stem. It could store water in there. And the sharp needles keep animals from stealing its water. How do animals survive in the desert?
All
Well,
right,
all
we'll pause there. We just heard a lot of information. Aiden G, are you laughing at that poor mouse who got stabbed in the face? I see that. I see that laughter. That poor little mouse. All right, so how do plants survive in the desert? They have skinny leaves. Those plants have skinny leaves. That way they don't get a lot of sun. They can store water in roots and trunks. Okay, so they have skinny leaves so that they don't get a lot of sun, and they can store water in their roots and trunks. That is what we just added there. Take a few moments to get that typed in. Awesome. Something that's really cool about those desert plants, I hope you saw it, is on those longer roots, the end had like bulbs, and that's basically like a water bottle for the plant, okay? So it has at the end of those very long roots, a big section that can hold water, and as it needs to drink, it pulls it up those roots and into the plant, okay? The same thing with those cactus trunk, is that big section there can hold water, and as the plant needs it, it'll take a sip and it'll go out to the plant limbs where it needs to be. So it's got its own water storage system, okay? Next question is, how do animals survive in the desert? We're getting ready to hear about animals now, okay? How do animals survive? Let's pull information from there. Check your screens. Awesome, you got it. Okay, oh no, hold on. Ah, there you are, okay. I pulled you guys down low and I couldn't see you anymore. Here we go. Yay, okay. How do animals survive? That's what we're looking for next. Here we go.
animals need some water. This lizard must get its water by eating bugs. But the desert has many kinds of animals. Where could they be? Hey, it must be pretty cool inside that cactus. I bet desert animals like spiders, snakes, and foxes find shelter to stay out of the hot sun. And when it gets darker and cool, the animals could come out to find food. Right, they're nocturnal, so they're more active at night. I'm not so sure I want to be here when all these animals come out tonight. Whoa, I wasn't expecting that city to be here in the desert. There must be a lot of people who live there.
All right, let's pause there. How do animals survive in the desert? We just heard quite a few interesting facts. Let's get to them. Interesting facts of how animals survive in the desert. We heard it. They get their water by eating other animals and bugs. So they don't drink water, they get it from the body contents of the bugs and animals they eat. So they get water from eating bugs and animals. That is one way they survive. They get their water from eating bugs and animals. Oops. Now, as you know, our focus of the lesson is the animals. So this is going to have a little bit more information than we did for the plants, okay? They get water from eating bugs and animals. They also are nocturnal, which means they sleep during the hot day. They come out at night, okay? So they hide and sleep during the hot day. They will come outside at nighttime. I pulled you guys down too low. I can't see you when I share my screen, so I'm gonna have to watch your screens only, not your faces. Oh, I didn't spell nocturnal correct. I put nocturnal. There we go. Nocturnal. So they are nocturnal. They sleep during the day. We are not going to finish that video because the last part of it is how humans survive in the desert, and that is not our focus for today's lesson. Our focus for today's lesson is how animals and plants survive in the desert. So we will pause there. If you'd like to watch it during your independent time later, by all means, go for it. Okay. This completes our desert research. What you are getting ready to do is go with a partner in a breakout room. And in that breakout room with your partner, you're going to do exactly what we just did, except it's going to be about a temperate climate, okay? So slide 4 says, with a partner, read and discuss the text. Notice that word, together. Don't forget to study the text features for additional information. On slides 6 and 7, you're going to watch the Brain Pop Junior videos, stop and discuss and answer the questions together, okay? So on slide 5, you're going to do exactly what we did. Have your highlighter ready and highlight the ways that animals and plants survive in temperate climates. What has changed on their body or their behavior, okay? On slide 6, you're going to click the link. You're going to watch the video. So either one of you could screen share or you could both mute and watch that video. And you're going to come back and answer the questions just like we did. I am going to recommend that you do this question and then stop and type it. And then find this question and stop and type it. And then find this question and stop and type it. If you watch the whole video, it's going to be hard to remember that information. So just like we did, we watched a part, we paused, we typed. We watched the next part, we paused, we typed. I recommend you do the same, okay? So that is what you are going to do on slide 5, read and highlight. Slide 6 and 7, watch the link, answer the questions, okay? What questions can I answer about your work, the directions, only the directions? Questions about directions. Braden.
I don't have slide 6 of Mopey and I don't have it.
You might have rearranged your slides, so scroll around and see where you left it. Okay. All righty. Yes, Leah, a question.
One of my text boxes got deleted on slide 3, so can you go back to slide 3?
Yes, I can. 1 second. Share, there, slide 3. There you are. Miss G, who would you like to work with today? All right. Not enough time. I know. I looked at your screens and I could tell. So I'm going to give you guys a choice, okay? I am going to leave Zoom open after we go over the independent directions. If you would like to stay on and work with a partner, I will leave Zoom open so that you can do that during your 10 to 10:30 work time, okay? If you want to do it independently, then you can log off and do that. But if you would like to stay with a partner, I will be leaving it open today, okay? So let's talk about what you're going to do after that partner work is done. Your independent slide directions are on slide 8. It says on slide 9, name 3 or more plants and animals that live in the desert. Notice it says 3 or more, okay? Then complete the box below. So you'll write 3 or more plants and animals. Then down here, you will type to describe how the climate and physical characteristics of the desert affect the vegetation and animal life living there, okay? You can do that by going back and looking at the information that you highlighted, looking at the questions that you answered from the text. On slide 10, you're going to do the exact same thing, but this time it's about temperate, okay? So this time you'll name 3 or more temperate animals or plants, and then how that climate affects them living there, okay? As always, you have your success criteria where you will tell me if you feel successful or if you struggled to describe how climate affects animals and plants, okay? All right, so this is your independent work. That's what you're going to complete independently. If you did not get done with your partner work, but you still want to work with a partner, it might be a different partner because your partner might decide to leave, but you can stay on Zoom and I will set up new breakout rooms, okay? All right, that's it, kiddos. That's what you're going to accomplish